Hey, I'm Rob. I'm the creator of Nova Team, and these are my builds.
Okay, very impressive. So you want to take us through what you've got here and kind of talk about how this works?
Yeah, so Nova Team is my take on the old 80s classic space. So just trying to bring it up to 2017 in the modern age. So I try to do some custom builds and custom minifigures, and then do some cool photography to go along with it. So what you got here is the LL962 Arrow. It's kind of a multi-purpose starfighter. I wanted something that kind of looks slick and cool, but try to follow the neoclassic space theme that's like popular with like Tim Goddard and Peter Reed, those guys in the UK, but my own take on that. So it's got some pretty cool features. It's got retractable landing gears, lots of blasters, storage for everybody. I try to come up with some logic to the builds. You know what I mean? That's something that's quasi-realistic, so that it kind of makes sense in my universe, so to speak. What we got over here is a little utility vehicle. It's called an RUV. I like an SUV, but RUV. I was also calling it the golf cart of neoclassic space. The little roll cage and all. It's got a little fuel container right here, just so they could fuel up a ship. I also got this guy right here, which is called the Work Bee. It actually got the name from something from Star Trek, actually. So that kind of an engineering utility management vehicle. It's got these cool manipulator arms. Also retractable landing gears and actually I can show this one to you a little bit better. It's got a pretty cool snot build on the bottom, retractable landing gears.
That's
also,
great.
Thank you. Also a swing out landing pad, and so I can get this open up, break it. A little cargo hold right there. And of course place for the minifigure, which is all important. And that of course popped off, and we'll leave that right there for now. All right, what else do we got here? All right, we'll do the command center. So kind of based off of a bridge of Star Trek, or maybe like the CIC Battlestar Galactica is kind of what I was going for with this one. You've got the Admiral here. You got a little kind of like a sensor Dratus kind of console, some crew members here. One of the things I'll show off here is a custom minifigure that I designed. So that's one of the things I like to do. See right there. Focus in there. Yep, so that is a custom design, kind of based that off of the Star Trek II uniform a little bit. But it did a little Star Wars with the dark gray, and of course the classic logo. So the classic logo's all over the place. Gotta have that in there.
Sure. So is that printed, or how'd you get that on there?
That particular one, so I designed it myself, and then I got water slide decals made.
Okay.
All right. So later on, I got some also UV printed stuff I'll show off to you guys. But just like I like the details, I like all the things that I just want to make it. Again, classic space, modern age. That's kind of what.
And I think the tiling and stuff really works there too. Everything looks very smooth, and I think that adds a really nice effect.
Thank you. I definitely was trying my best to make sure that it was presentable for the show, because I hide a lot in my photography. I'm always playing with angles, like a movie set, right? There's only like a quarter of a thing built for a movie set. I'm trying to say, all right, I can do that, and then cheat angles and do stuff. So my world looks vast on Flickr and Instagram, but it's really just what you see here at the table.
Exactly. And then what's this build down here?
Okay, so this actually, I made this specifically for the show. It's premiering here. I will be posting these photos up over the course of some time. This is an alien planet that Nova Team, actually Nova Team themselves are the ones that are right here. These are the custom guys. And they're on this planet, and the story kind of goes roughly, they can't fly down on this planet due to some atmospheric thing. I haven't figured out the name of that yet. So they got to send their RRAV. It's a research rover all-terrain vehicle. It's kind of like a rolling lab. Okay, think of like Curiosity and stuff like that, and all the little sensors and stuff that like those rovers have, but something that actual people can ride. So I did some really simple terrain with it. My daughter helped me out with the magenta leaves and all that stuff. Try to make it look as alien as possible and give a little pop so people walk by and go, hey, look, it's pink, instead of all gray.
Add some color, that's always nice.
Exactly. Speaking of color, here is one of my custom minifigures. Orange shows up the best, so we'll show you this guy. And that is custom designed by myself, and then UV print it all the way around. He's getting his back covered a little bit, but you guys can see the detail I put in there.
Side of the legs, arms, and everything. That's awesome.
Yeah, I want, like I said, modern age, and everything's got side printing now, so I was like, I want my side printing too. So there you go with that. I'll show you the RUV real quick, or RRAV, excuse me. So yeah, lots of little sensors and stuff, like obstruction sensors to make sure that nothing gets in the way of the rover, and you got a little like bottom windshield there, so they can kind of see down below. We've got a lot of different antennas and sensors and communications things. Got an air scrubber right here because they got to be able to breathe when they got the thing sealed up. I also have a a cool drill bit kind of thing here. Let me see, I gotta fix that for you guys real quick. I took off the bit so it could look submerged for the show. So you got a little drill bit here. It's articulated, go down, and actually can go down full depth if I wanted to. Like there's enough articulation in that the ground is at the wheels. It can go all the way down.
Okay.
All right. Let's see what else I got on this thing.
I love all the moving parts.
Thank you. I tried to add as much interest as I could. Got a little simulated suspension right here. So when it's rolling over the terrain, it'll kind of bounce around. Not a new technique, but I thought it worked pretty well in this regard. And I got a really detailed interior. So here's everything you need in there. You got our pilot. You got maybe like the commander would sit here with his consoles and stuff like that. Got a chemical analyzer right here. Controls for the drill. A workbench. And then electronic microscope, some kind of analyzer, not a space microwave.
Though I'm sure that would come in handy.
Totally, right? I would take one. And then maybe some extra vac suits can sit here, random storage of whatever. Take your pick what that could be. And so there you go. That's pretty much it. Of course, that closes up, seals up, so they'll be able to take their helmets off if they wanted to. And that is pretty much it for the RUV. What else I got here? Oh, I got this guy right here. I'm actually pretty happy with this one. This is the, I forgot the numbering that I gave it, but we'll just call it the Trident. There's your Tri right there.
There you go.
It is pretty much a single occupant interceptor fighter. Think like an X-Wing fighter, my own kind of take on that. Forward swept wings, I kind of stole some, general design ideas from other builders that, are out there in the community and just kind of did my own spin on it. One of the coolest things about this particular build is the wings can fold up. So if it was, docked in like a carrier or something, that's how it would sit. And then it would just snap and deploy when it was flying.
But it's Lego, so it goes back together.
Exactly. Within seconds, I'll have that fixed. The pilot will not have to eject and then bug out, right?
There you go. And you mentioned your photography earlier, so I want to make sure we talked about that as well, because you got some really cool photographs kind of on some of the screens here. Talk about how you kind of got involved with Lego photography and what you do with that.
Sure. Okay, so I guess it starts back with those awesome catalog photos that we all probably stared at as kids going, I want that, I want that. It started with that. Once I got in my dark ages, I became into video production. I'm a director and I do motion graphics and I film and I edit and I do all those things. So when I started realizing that adults were playing with Lego too, and they were doing amazing photography, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm into visual arts. I can do cool photography too. Why not? So I decided to go the photography route versus video, because videos work for me, photography is not. So I take all my kind of visual skills, a lot of my technology and tech that I use, the techniques in video, and apply them to my photos. So the niche I kind of fell into was cinematic photography, is what I call it. I wanted to feel like it's a frame out of a movie. It doesn't animate, it doesn't move, but it kind of feels like
it looks like a still shot or something from a movie, yeah.
Exactly. That's definitely what I'm trying to go for here. And I started to develop as a story, and people are actually looking forward to the next Nova Team installment. I got people worrying about my minifigures. Oh, I hope they survive this one. And it's so much fun. And I just decided that I would do these like miniature series every couple months. I come out with a gang of photos, like 15, 20 photos, and say, okay, what adventure do I put these guys on? And that's essentially what I'm going to be doing, with this alien setup, and I've been doing for the last few years.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's so incredible. I've been blown away ever since joining the Lego community several years ago about how good the photographs are, people's builds. People put so much work, sometimes more work into the photo than the actual build or something. So it's just incredible what you can do with that kind of the after effects of the photo and everything to make it look really neat. So then you also do some work with Blocks Magazine, which is this really cool Lego magazine, fan magazine over here. So how does that work?
So I actually met them. I was part of the public at Philly Brick Fest a few years ago, and I've been part of the public. This is my first year exhibiting. Okay. But I've been here every year, and I bumped into them, and I was like, hey, look, I do cool Lego photos. Do you need anybody? And they love my work, and I started to do some work for them, and that started out doing some of these spreads that you see here. That then dovetailed into me starting to work with their U.S. editor, Daniel, I'm sorry, I'm going to mess up your last name, Konstanty, I think is his last name. We started working together. He's local to me, and he does these amazing builds. He did the Batcave build recently and did this Harry Potter thing and a few other things I can't talk about right now. By the time this video comes out, the issue probably will be out. And then so we work together. He does these amazing builds, and then they want me to do these cinematic photos. And him and I spend 12, 13, 14 hours just photographing these things. I use fog machines and little lighting and all these things to try to give it atmosphere and stuff. And that's what they had me do, and it's so much fun. And honestly, hanging out with somebody for 16 hours talking about Lego is also kind of like a mini brick fest, a micro brick fest in a way. And that's just a lot of fun too. And it's kind of like hard to call it work, but it is. And it helps support the hobby too. We all know what you need with Lego: money, time, and energy. Something I'm lacking in every regard.
Yeah, well, this is just incredible. I love the builds and the photography. Thank you so much for taking us through those. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.